For over 100 years, three sources have been the basis for U.S. antitrust law: the Sherman Act, the Clayton Act, and the FTC Act. These century-old laws are used by the Department of Justice and the Federal Trade Commission to police anti-competitive business practices which harm consumers. The penalties for breaking the law can be severe. Many antitrust laws are both criminal and civil. Violators can face as many as 10 years imprisonment and fines as high as $100 million or more. Additionally, private parties may sue for triple the damages in civil court. So, what is antitrust and what makes it illegal? Antitrust refers to business practices which restrain trade. These practices use illegal tactics to unnaturally gain an advantage in the marketplace. When determining whether a practice breaks antitrust law, there are two very important factors to consider. Does the practice have a legitimate business justification? And does it harm the consumer? At the heart of antitrust law is the consumer. If the practice has no legitimate business justification and it harms the consumer, it's almost always a violation. Consumers can be harmed by higher prices, less choices, and lower quality or service. Dealings with competitors. Price fixing. Price fixing occurs when two or more companies sell the same product and agree to charge the same price for that product. Price fixing can also involve factors that affect price, such as interest rates, discounts, or shipping charges. Bid rigging. Bid rigging occurs when two or more companies make an agreement to take turns providing the lowest bid for products or services. Bid rigging raises the cost of goods and services artificially because it takes away competition, and as a result, consumers are harmed by higher prices. Illegal market division. Illegal market division occurs when two or more competing companies agree to divide a territory or customers between themselves so they don't have to compete for business. Group boycotts. Any company has the individual right to refuse to do business with another. However, if a group of companies make the decision together, it's considered a group boycott. Group boycotts are usually found to be anti-competitive and illegal. Supply chain dealings. Supply chain arrangements are judged by the rule of reason standard, which balances an arrangement between its competitive and anti-competitive nature. Exclusive dealing contracts. It's legal for a manufacturer to enter into exclusive contracts with dealers or retailers if the arrangement benefits the consumer with a higher level of service. However, when manufacturers sign all or most of the dealers or retailers in their industry, they are vulnerable to antitrust violations. For example, if a television manufacturer were able to sign every major retail chain in the country to an exclusive contract, it's unlikely that any other manufacturer could survive or enter the marketplace. The anti-competitive nature of the manufacturer's actions would far outweigh any competitive benefits and likely violate the law. Requirements contracts. Contracts that require a supplier to provide their product exclusively to a manufacturer are not illegal if they improve efficiency and promote inter-brand competition. However, these contracts become illegal when, for instance, a manufacturer signs all or almost all the suppliers of a critical material needed to manufacture a product. Under this scenario, competitors are unable to sustain their businesses and new competition is unable to enter the marketplace. For instance, a pharmaceutical company who signs exclusive agreements with all the suppliers of a critical drug ingredient has eliminated all competition for the production of that drug. The anti-competitive nature of this practice outweighs any benefits and makes it illegal. Manufacturer-imposed requirements. If the manufacturer makes policies unilaterally, they are legal, and dealers may be terminated for violating them. In most cases, manufacturers can impose requirements on their dealers, such as minimum retail price policies or the assignment of exclusive territories. These requirements become illegal when they're part of an agreement between competing manufacturers. Refusal to supply. Refusal to supply occurs when one company refuses to supply goods or services to another company as the result of an anti-competitive agreement. For example, if two or more competing retailers come to an agreement that pressures a manufacturer to stop selling to one of their competitors, it would be considered anti-competitive and illegal. Single firm conduct. Antitrust laws forbid a company who enjoys all or most of a market share from engaging in unreasonable practices that monopolize or attempt to monopolize trade. The courts define unreasonable practices as practices without a legitimate business justification. Predatory or low-cost pricing. Predatory or low-cost pricing occurs when a company with significant market share lowers prices with the sole purpose of driving its competitors out of business. Generally, this tactic is used by larger companies who can afford to take short-term losses while they bankrupt their smaller competitors and eliminate all competition. Tie-in sales or forced buying. Tie-in sales or forced buying occurs when a company exclusively manufactures a highly specialized product and requires consumers to buy non-exclusive products or services as a package deal with the specialized product. For instance, if the exclusive manufacturer of a specialty screwdriver decided to increase their sales of hammers by making the screwdriver only available as a package purchase with a hammer, they would be guilty of illegal tying. In this scenario, customers are forced to buy a hammer they may not need or could have found at a lower price or higher quality somewhere else. Refusal to deal. Refusal to deal occurs when a company refuses to do business with one or more different companies. It becomes illegal if it's used by a company with market share as a predatory weapon to reduce competition. For example, the United States Supreme Court ruled on a case where a newspaper refused to sell advertising to customers who also advertised on a local radio station. Because the newspaper enjoyed a near monopoly-level market share in the community, this practice made it impossible for the radio station to compete. Local companies could not afford to lose their advertisements in the newspaper and stopped advertising with the radio station. The court ruled in the radio station's favor because the practice resulted in less selection and higher prices for advertisers. Discriminatory pricing. Discriminatory pricing occurs when one customer is given a better price than another with several exceptions. A price given to match a competitor's price, a price that reflects the costs associated with delivery, manufacture, or other factors related to region or locality where the goods were sold, and volume discounts. Discriminatory conduct also extends to allowances given to retailers or distributors to assist in sales such as advertising, brochures, facilities, or other benefits. Mergers. Mergers are often beneficial to consumers because they result in more efficient organizations that produce a higher quality product at a lower price. However, when a merger between competing businesses creates a monopoly and harms consumers, it is usually blocked. Mergers endure a complex approval process, but the majority are approved. Trade associations. Trade associations provide services that are not only valuable to business members but to the public as well. However, trade organizations may not be used to hide antitrust violations. In other words, if it's illegal outside of a trade organization, then it is illegal inside a trade organization. For example, if the members of a trade organization agree collectively to charge the same amount for shipping or to use the same contracts, then they have violated antitrust law. Additionally, it's illegal for a trade organization to require members to cease business operations that are legal and beneficial to the consumer. If a company dominates its sector of the marketplace due to superior quality, innovation, efficiencies, or service, then their actions benefit the consumer and are considered fair and legal. However, when a company's practices are anti-competitive and without a legitimate business justification, they generally harm the consumer and are considered illegal. When considering whether a practice violates antitrust law, ask yourself, will this practice harm the consumer? If the answer is yes, then you may be in danger of a violation and further research and legal advice should be obtained. Antitrust laws have survived for over 100 years, and they will likely survive for hundreds more because they ensure a fair, competitive, and thriving marketplace which benefits everyone.